Want to live forever? All you need to do is gain access to one of the 5 legendary items I'm talking about today. Ambrosia is how the Greek gods kept young and fit. This magical elixir was both a food and a beverage, and it is all the Greek gods ate or drank, with the exception of wine. Dionysus wasn't the only god who was fond of that. Regardless, the Greek pantheon ate and drank so much ambrosia that eventually their blood was replaced with a magical liquid called ichor. It was this substance that Hephaestus, the god of smiths, used to power his automatons. How he obtained it other than from himself was not mentioned. There's a catch, of course. Isn't there always? The first catch is, if a human eats ambrosia once, all it would do is guarantee that you live out your normal lifespan free of disease or misadventure and pass from natural causes. Which is a good thing, but not exactly the effect we were after, is it? However, so far as we know, no human has been able to exist on ambrosia the way the gods did. I'd say there's a really good chance on such a diet that eventually your or my blood would turn into ichor also, and we'd be young and healthy forever. Which brings me to catch number 2. No one knows what ambrosia is, what it looks like, or where it comes from. In the Greek myths, it is brought to the gods by divine doves. Supposedly Zeus got his from a magical eagle who brought his from the Clashing Rocks, made famous in the story of Jason and the Argonauts. Is that where it is? Maybe. Does anyone know where that is? And how did the eagle get it? For that matter, how did the divine doves get theirs? The legends do not say. So in order to use ambrosia, first you have to find it, not knowing what it is or where it is, or even what it looks like. Good luck with that. In Taoist China, these are the magical peaches that take 3,000 years to ripen. Or 10,000 years, accounts differ. The Queen Mother of the West, Shi Wang Mu, is their guardian. Again, we're dealing with gods here. The peaches, also referred as pantao, unlike ambrosia, give immediate immortality to whoever eats one. When the peaches become ripe, the Taoist immortals celebrate with a banquet where the main dish is, you guessed it, pantao. This ensures that they will remain healthy and young until the next crop of peaches is ready. Again, there's a catch. Well, as before, 2 of them. The first is that you have to be living when the crop is in season. Then there's the matter of getting past Shi Wang Mu. Even assuming you can find her domain, she's been doing this for a long time. Accounts of anyone getting a peach without her permission are rare to non-existent. You could try, I guess, but I wouldn't recommend it. There is, however, another way. Also in Shi Wang Mu's possession is the elixir of immortality. While it's not explicitly stated, considering her other duties, it's a safe bet this elixir is distilled for the pantao when they're in season, and thus preserves their potency. More to the point, Shi Wang Mu is known to simply bestow this elixir as a reward on those she deems worthy. In one famous story, the archer Hu Yi lived at a time when the earth had 10 suns. That's 9 too many, and the earth was being scorched. Taking his mighty bow, Hu Yi shot down the 9 excess suns and thus saved the earth. For this heroic deed, Shi Wang Mu gave Hu Yi a draught of the elixir. Now Hu Yi had a wife named Chang Yi. When Hu Yi was away, likely on some other heroic exploit, she couldn't resist the temptation to drink the elixir herself. Now we come to the second catch, which was not simply evading Shi Wang Mu. Drinking the elixir made Chang Yi an immortal, and the earth was no place for her. She immediately ascended into the heavens and became the goddess of the moon. Now, becoming a god or goddess is probably not a bad job, and you do achieve the immortal part. If your goal, however, is to become an immortal human, this won't work for you. This is the nectar of immortality in Hindu mythology. It was achieved when the gods, Devas, and the demons, Asuras, decided to work together in a process called Samudra Manthan, or churning of the ocean, which is a fascinating story all its own. In order to churn the ocean as one would churn cream to butter, the gods and demons took a mountain called Mandara and a serpent called Vasuka. looped the serpent around the mountain as a pull rope, and used it to rotate the mountain like a spindle. As this was a heavy work, the gods and demons took turns. The first result of the churning was a poison so virulent that it threatened to destroy all life in the universe. Lord Vishnu swallowed it to prevent this, and it turned his throat blue. After this, things got better. The churning produced a divine horse, then a divine cow, then a tree that granted wishes, the goddess Lakshmi, and finally Dhanvantari, the god of medicine, holding a pot of Amrita. Once this happened, the temporary alliance between the gods and demons was over, and they immediately started fighting over possession of the nectar. Again, Lord Vishnu played a key role, and the gods were eventually victorious. And now the catch. Even assuming this happened and the gods and demons are real, how do you get your hands on Amrita? Apparently one disguised demon succeeded, but his head was cut off before the nectar spread to the rest of his body, and so all he achieved was an immortal head. If the demons can't manage it, what chance do you and I have? In Norse mythology, Ithun is a giantess and a goddess of spring who tends to Ranakar Grove, where the golden apples of immortality are grown. As with Shi Weng Mu, Ithun guards the fruit that keeps the gods ever youthful. Unlike the golden fuchsias, the golden apples become ripe every year like ordinary apples, and Ithun would also have a banquet to celebrate the occasion and serve the fruit of immortality to the Norse gods. Not only would the gods' youth be restored, but any wounds or illnesses they suffered would also be healed. Unhappy that the gods were keeping Ithun and her magic apples to themselves, a giant named Thiaxi tricks the trickster, obligating Loki to deliver Ithun to the giants. This Loki does by creating an illusion of a miraculous grove of apples in the woods beyond Ranakar Grove that piques Ithun's curiosity. As soon as she leaves her grove to see the new one, Thiaxi, in the shape of an eagle, swoops in and carries her off to his home in Jotunheim. Remarkably, nobody in Asgard notices Ithun's absence until they start aging. Once deigning to realize something's wrong, the gods move quickly, and it doesn't take long to uncover Loki's involvement. He's given a simple choice: get Ithun back, or else. Loki borrows Freya's falcon cloak and flies to Jotunheim. Once he finds Ithun there, he turns her into a nut and carries her back to Asgard with Thiaxi in hot pursuit. This turns out to be a mistake, since once Thiaxi arrives, the gods overwhelm and destroy him. And so the catch. Assuming the golden apples exist, then the Norse gods exist. You think they're going to let a mortal get their hands on those apples after what happened to Thiaxi? Forget about it. As legends go, the Fountain of Youth has a distinctly ecumenical flavor. Multiple cultures have a tradition of a life-giving and rejuvenating spring. Many indigenous cultures in both North and South America had that tradition, as well as the ancient Greeks and some Arabic cultures. Probably the most famous tradition for those of us in the West comes from a posthumous story told about the conquistador and explorer Ponce de Leon. In this tradition, he had information that convinced him that the fountain was located in what is now Florida. Allegedly, Ponce de Leon was searching for the Fountain of Youth in Florida when he was wounded by a native's arrow. He withdrew to Havana and succumbed to his injury in July 1521, having never located the fountain. Despite this, there are those who claim that he did indeed find the Fountain of Youth, located in what is now a park near St. Augustine. Go there if you're interested in the early history of the area. St. Augustine is a fascinating place and definitely worth a trip. However, if you're going there for the Fountain of Youth, I can save you the trouble. I've had a drink from that fountain. Let's just say it didn't work. So far as I'm able to determine, the Fountain of Youth, if it exists, is not guarded by gods or dragons or, well, anything. You just have to find it. That's the catch. Oh well, no one said becoming immortal was easy.